The final topic for this worksheet is topic 4, where we're going to look at finding unknown values in proportions. You could also see this called solving proportions. It just depends on the textbook you're using. Okay, the steps to find unknown values in proportions, it's all stuff that we've already looked at in different videos. But essentially, you're going to take whatever proportion you have. Remember, proportion is basically a statement that two fractions are equal to each other. And of the 4 different places where you can have a number, one of the numbers is going to be missing. So we have to find a way to determine its value. So what we do is we cross multiply. That's going to create a one-step equation for us to solve. We solve that, and then we can always check our solution to see if our work is correct. Okay? So example 4 says find the missing value of each proportion. And we're going to start with one that's pretty easy. Okay, so I have 8/15 equals x over 6. We want to know what value we need to replace x with so that this is a true proportion, okay? So the first thing we do is we cross multiply. And remember, that is multiplying along the diagonals of this equation. This is only valid if you have an equal sign in the middle. Please keep that in mind, okay? So I want to see if 15 times x is equal to 8 times 6. Okay, so we sometimes have to do an extra little simplification here before we can start solving or simplifying our equation. So 15x is as good as it's going to get. But 8 times 6, I could simplify that. I want to go ahead and multiply out 8 times 6. So 8 times 6 is 48. Okay? So I have 15 times x equals 48. I want to undo the multiplication of 15 and x. So how do we undo multiplication? Well, in math, we undo multiplication with division. So I want to divide by 15. And if I do it on the left, I have to do it on the right. Remember, we have to maintain that balance that's inherent to an equation, okay? So looking at the left-hand side of this, I have 15x divided by 15. Well, 15 divided by 15 is just 1. 1 times x is just x. And then 48 divided by 15, I would say at this point, as long as you show the work that I have shown right here, if you show all of these steps, you can do the actual division of 48 by 15 on the calculator. So let's let the calculator do our side work. We want to divide 48 by 15, and we get 3.2, okay? So 3.2 is the solution to this equation, okay? But if you want to, you can always check your work. So to check your work, you would rewrite your proportion. So we had 8 over 15 equals x over 6, but instead of just putting an x there, we're going to go ahead and replace x with 3.2. And remember, the way we check to see if a proportion is true or not is we cross multiply. So just like we did here, we want to cross multiply, and we want to make sure our cross products are the same. Okay? So we want to know, is 8 times 6 truly equal to 15 times 2 or 3.2? I had it backwards. Well, 8 times 6 we already know is 48. So let's go to the calculator and let it do the side work of 15 times 3.2. Now, I promise you, in my class, if you don't show me on paper what you're telling your calculator to do, you're not going to get credit. So you have to at least show me the setup. You just let the calculator do the side work for you. So in this case, the side work is figuring out what 15 times 3.2 is. So let's see, 15 times 3.2. Hopefully we get 48, and we do. So we can say that without a shadow of a doubt, 3.2 is our answer. All right, so we do get 48 down here, which checks out. So we would finally say that the answer is 3.2. And you'll sometimes see it written in what's called set notation. So if you see these little curly braces with the solution inside, don't be alarmed. It just means this. These two things say the same thing. Okay? So let's look at part B. So part B is a little bit harder because right off the bat, you can see there's a decimal in the answer, but the process is exactly the same, okay? We're going to cross multiply, so we're going to multiply the diagonals, okay? So I want to see if 3.5 times x is equal to 12 times 7, okay? So 3.5x, we want to go ahead and simplify the left or the right-hand side here where we have 12 times 7. So let's see, 12 times 7 is what, 84? So what we're solving is 3.5x equals 84. What value for x is going to make this true? So I basically need to isolate my x by undoing what has happened to it. Well, so far we can see that we've multiplied our x by 3.5. So how do we undo multiplication? Well, we divide. So I want to divide on the left by 3.5, but if I divide on the left, I have to divide on the right by the same thing. So we divide both sides by 3.5. On the left, 3.5 divided by itself is 1. 1 times x is x. And then we can let the calculator do our side work of 84 divided by 3.5. So let's go to the calculator. I do apologize for having to bounce back and forth, but this is the technology I have, so we're going to use it. All right, so we had 84 divided by 3.5, and that gives us 24. So let's see if that works. So at this point, we're saying, okay, 84 divided by 3.5 is 24. So we think that's our solution, but we can check, okay? So if you want to check, you rewrite your proportion, but where you see the x, you replace it with whatever value we just found, which is 24. So we're going to say, okay, 3.5 over 12, we need to know, does that equal 7 over 24? And this one you can kind of see in your head that it works, but let's go ahead and do the cross multiplying just to be sure. So we want to know, does 7 times 12 equal 3 times 5 times 24? Well, 7 times 12 we already know from over here is 84. So then we'll let the calculator do the side work of 3.5 times 24, and we're hoping for 84 here. So 3.5 times 24, and you can see, of course, it does work here, which we kind of knew it would, but there you have it. Okay, so 84 equals 84, so we are good. Okay, now for the next two examples, I'm not going to check them. Just know that you know how to check now. You just cross multiply and make sure your cross products match. Okay, for part C, we have a fraction, which anytime you have a fraction, it's always like a little bit more involved, okay? But that's okay because we're old pros at fractions now, okay? So we want to start by cross multiplying. So I get 8 times x equals 1/3 times 24. Okay, so 1/3 times 24. We can let the calculator do the side work for us, but this one's really pretty easy. If we go off to the side, we have 1/3 times 24. Well, I can think of this as 3 going into 24. I can basically divide 24 by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I essentially just get 8 over 1 or just 8. So what we have here is 8x equals 8. 1/3 times 24 is just 8. And then I need to get the x alone. So I need to undo the multiplication of 8 and x. So I divide both sides by 8. 8 divided by 8 is just 1. So 1 times x is x. And then over here, 8 divided by 8 is still just 1. So the value that would make this proportion true was if x was equal to 1. Okay? One more. So we have 25 over x equals 3 over 7 over 30. So again, we have a fraction, which complicates things just a little bit. It's just like an extra layer of work, no big deal. We want to cross multiply. So I'm going to get x times 3, or 3x, equals 25 times 7 over 30. Well, this one is not going to simplify as pretty as the one in part C did, okay? So this is going to take a little bit more work, but that's okay because we're like old pros at this, all right? So let's simplify the right-hand side. So I know that 25 and 30, they are both divisible by 5. So let's go ahead and divide them by 5 and just kind of simplify things, okay? Well, 25 divided by 5 is 5. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So when I simplify, my left is still just 3x, and my right is going to be 5 times 7, which is 35, over 1 times 6. So I get 35 over 6 for now, okay? And we'll just leave it like that. Now, I need to get my 3x. I need to get that x alone on the 3x side. So x has been multiplied by 3. We undo it by dividing. I'm going to write this one as just standard division over here on the right, just for the sake of ease. So on the left, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times x is x. And then on the right, I have 35 over 6 divided by 3. Let's think of that 3 as 3 over 1. And remember, when we're dividing fractions, we can really multiply by a reciprocal. So instead of dividing by 3, I can multiply by 1/3. So that becomes 35 over 6 times 1 over 3. Well, there are no factors in the denominators. It'll go into the numerators. So I would say my final answer is 35 over 18. and you can just leave it as an improper fraction. As long as it's reduced, you can leave it like that, okay? So that is finding unknown values in proportions. We basically just use a couple things we already knew. We know how to determine if a proportion is true by cross multiplying. We did a really, really super fast brief lesson on solving one-step equations. So if we take those two worlds and merge them, we can solve proportions. All right, so make sure you know how to solve a proportion.